Makana. You must have seen the other vessel in the port there. Yes, Makana is now a Xhosa prophet. He was a Xhosa prophet, yes, of course. And those days, this area was the whaling station named after John Murray by the prisoners themselves, because this man is also an ex-political prisoner, in honor the prisoners building on top of his cemetery. Now, to the one side, to the right-hand side of the Kramat, there was the colony for the female leper sufferers, heavily guarded in the 1800s. Right behind me, you're looking straight into the prison, and that is where I'm going to take you a bit later. But a quick question. Why is it when the prisoners were in the prison, they want to get out? Here you people come on such a beautiful day to the prison. And look at the people fighting and queuing to get inside the prison. But anyways, you're right. Now, as they dug out the trenches to lay the foundation of the prison, they discovered that the body on top of a cemetery. On the field there, you will see a tombstone sticking out. You see the tombstone? Now that tombstone gives an indication that the prison was built on top of a cemetery. Now from the Kramat, the female colony, to the trees and bushes, approximately 2,000 graves were uncovered. Yes, the remains you would see underneath the trees and the bushes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there's the graves. But I don't know, I just have to stand a while here because the gentleman is on the cell phone here, and believe me, the day they put their foot on Robben Island soil, that was the last time they saw one another alive ever. As I said, as you get to the island, separated. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Fairness, all the way from Germany, both suffer from leprosy. As they got to the island, as I said, separated. And the last time, after 5 years, Mrs. Fairness passed away. Within the space of 1.5 hours, Mr. Fairness also passed away. The consolation, they are buried together, the tall tombstone right in front of us with the round circle. That is where a couple were laid to rest, at least in one grave. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the sadness of Robben Island. And as the war went into discoveries, it was discovered that leprosy is not too dangerous. Then all the lepers were taken off the island to different hospitals, different infirmaries. But now, this man, he was told, in fact, he's not a prisoner, he's a detainee. He was told that he was not allowed to talk to the wardens. And the wardens were not allowed to talk to him either. 4 years have gone by. I'm asking you people a question now. 4 years have gone by. Nobody is talking to you, and you're not talking to anybody. You tell me what would happen to a person in conditions like that. Come tell me. That's exactly what happened. He becomes definitely not so mentally well. In Parliament, 400 seats of parliamentarians, the opposition parties held a couple of years. No detainees, only that area, one detainee, Robertson. Nobody else. No. The dog kennels was built after his release. That's why I said you could have seen it from the road to the other side. As they stack the line, that's fine. As they stack the line, after so many months of hard labor, the wardens would come back to them and the wardens would tell them, now take the line back to where you find it. What I'm saying to you is they use every method in the book to dehumanize people, demoralize people, break them down physically, mentally, spiritually, in which way they find fit to exercise brutalities and hard labor and, of course, white supremacy on their leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, my colleague Mr. Aaron is going to take over. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Aaron, his name, a professional guide like myself. My name is Sadiq.
To the other side for 13.5 years. They worked that whole area to our right. Limestone mixed with the crusty shells to construct the roads on the island. Now, it is not that difficult to break, very soft stone, but what made things difficult for them working in the quarry was the brightness, the glare, and the dust of the limestone. That dust settling behind the eyes, inhaling that dust affected the lungs. And that is why they refer to the limestone being the silent enemy. Now, on their arrival in 64, then starting their hard labor in the quarry, that whole cave.
As my colleague has said, it used to be the toilet. But believe me, parts of the Constitution was even discussing. Could they have it in the open? It got to Madiba's ears, and Madiba referred them to use the cave. And they went inside the cave and had a discussion. And believe me, they weren't once disturbed when they had this discussion. Anybody knows why weren't they disturbed?
The smell?
Oh, we all are human beings, Governor. Yeah, the stench was no problem, really. But what I like to say is that heavily guarded, so was the road. But believe me, yes, sir, I always say, where there is a man, there will be a will and a way, yes. It's right, I agree with that. 41 beautiful babies were born. Don't ask us how it's possible, please. It's still a well kept secret on us. The name of the street, wherever you come from in this world, Coast Guards used to operate from there. And here we have another famous wreck in the world. Yes, very famous. Even photos and films have been done with this film, with this, with this wreck. Yes, you're quite right, sir, when you say the Titanic. Now, I'm kidding on that one. It's not the Titanic, it's the Fortune 2. It wrecked here in 1977 with 70 tons of tuna on board. Also a fishy story, believe me, I'll tell you the story. As the boat ran aground and the shores here, wrecked here, the crew jumped off and they swam across to the shore. On the shores, they came to this road. As they approached, put their foot on the road, a man by the name of Johann Swartz came down and fought me. And some people say they believe they swam across. Because he never saw, as he went to the Kruger National Park, he see more wildlife on the island than the Kruger Park. On a serious note, he said that, I said, yeah, could be, because all the elements are on one side. Yes, also another thing I wanted to add was that
They let us walk all the way from Marais Harbour, being escorted by prison loaders up until here. This is a maximum security prison. We've got 7 sections, and the 8th one, it was our kitchen. And the area here is a reception area. This is where all prisoners are standing who are coming to do their sentence. And the prison loaders are busy taking off the chains in our legs, handcuffs in our hand, and then one by one, you enter to that office. In that office, they already know about you. Their procedure is just to open up a new file for you, and then from there, they are going to give you a small yellow card. In that card, you must put on your 2 fingerprints, and the card must be in your pocket all the time. Failing to carry that card, you will be taken to the same office, and you are going to be charged. And they can even increase your sentence to 6 months. And at the same office, they know exactly who you are. If you are the leader outside on Robben Island, you are not going to be kept with the rank and files. You will be kept with the leaders. That is why people like Mandela, the late Walter Sisulu, the late Governor Begis, they were kept separate from other prisoners. If you are the rank and file like myself, then you'll be taken to the rank and file section. And you are coming here as a prisoner. So what they will tell you in that office, you must take off those prison clothes that you are wearing coming from the mainland. You are going to wear a Robben Island prison clothes. And then from there, they will give you a cup, a spoon, a plate, a blue soap, and then 2 rack, very small one. And then after that, they will escort you to the particular section. And at that side, that was our study office. So on Robben Island, we were studying, but to study it was a privilege. And at that privilege, they can take it anytime. And you must know that we were regarded as terrorists or the enemy of the state. And education, it was a very serious problem to the authorities here. And that is why they even refused to finance us financially. But people all over the world, they were donating money to the trust. And that trust was called Serpent. And then Serpent was responsible to finance all political prisoners in the country. On Robben Island, that is how we were able to study. And there are some prisoners here, like myself, we were not that educated. Others were educated through missionary schools. And those comrades, they were helping those who cannot help themselves. And we had our own slogan, where we said, each one teach one. And we even said, we are government in waiting. And to govern the country, you must have education. So that is how we educate ourselves here. And we were passing our exams. And today, when you go to our parliament, 50% of the ministers, they were in this prison. Jacob Zuma is the deputy president. He was here on Robben Island. Jeff Hadebe, a minister of transport, he was in this prison. And then Mr. Likota, a minister of defense, he was in this prison. I've got an endless list of people there. Even myself, I was here, but unfortunately, I am still here. This is how the painting it was. We, the prisoners, we were painting the prison. And every 2 years, you must renew the paint. And we were subjected to hard labor, physically torture, and psychologically torture. There was no female here. We were only male prisoners. And they classify us according to our race. I was classified as Bantu because I'm black. Other prisoners as colored. Others as an Indian. And the females, they were kept in Kronstadt. And then white male Polkal prisoners, they were kept in Pretoria. Our prison wardens, they were all white, young Afrikaner-speaking personnel, very energetic and doing their job very effectively. They call us kafas, they call us coolies, they call us Busmans. We were not here to be rehabilitated. We were here to be destroyed. Follow me. The security police who shot my father are the same police who break my ribs, who make me to become partially deaf on my left ear, who were shocking my body with an electrical shocks, who make me to eat my feces, who were using my private part as their ashtray. Captain Zed, Adjutant Joubert, Mr. van der Merwe. The same three gentlemen were taken to Truth Commission in front of Bishop Tutu. In Truth Commission, they were given amnesty, of which today they are wealthy people running their own companies. My father on the wheelchair for the rest of his life, completely blind by those bullets. The crime is to come to visit his son on Robben Island. Census office, it was a well-done job, and to us, it was a very severe pain. Any question? Next door here, it is our clinic. This place makes us very sick. And the prison doctor was coming twice a week. That was Mondays and Thursdays. And not all of us, we are going to see that doctor. Maybe about 10 to 15 prisoners. I'll be seeing that doctor, and we are streamlining. And the doctor is busy checking your pulse, make you to open your mouth, and then from there, using this thing, they call it a stethoscope. Said, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. But you'll find most of the time, that thing was still hanging around his neck. And then from there, you'll be given those X-spray or those pain tablets. If you've got stomach problem, they'll give you Epsom salt to drink, and you have to drink it because you have to survive. That is why some prisoners did die on the island. Not because they were hanged, but there was a lack of proper medication. And the strategy, it was to make sure that if you are free outside, you don't survive too long, you must die early. And they call it a total onslaught. Don't keep those people with other prisoners. They must be kept separate. And this section, it was decided to keep their leaders. So this section is B section, and that is where Mandela's and other leaders were kept. And Mandela was classified just like everybody. He was classified as Bantu. Mr. Katada, Mandela's co-accused, he was classified as an Indian. And Mr. Eddie Daniel, he was classified as colored. And Mandela, he was not allowed to wear a long pant. He was given a short trouser with a sandals, short sleeve shirt, a jersey, not a very good warm-up one. Mr. Katada and Eddie Daniels, they were given underwear, long pant, socks, shoes, shirt, a very good warm-up jersey for the rest of the winter. Even the food was the same, but the scale was stiffer. Black prisoners were getting lesser food. Colored and Indian prisoners were getting more food. Even the bedding, there was no bedding on the island. people were sleeping on the mat. And at that mat, we call it a sisal mat with the 3 blankets. And then those blankets are very cold. And then this place is cold itself. And then on Robben Island, the leaders here, there were 32 of them. Mr. Mandela, professionally, is a lawyer. As a lawyer, Mandela was elected to become a spokesperson for the prisoners. And then Mandela wrote a very detailed letter complaining about the brutalities of the warders, the condition of this prison, and that letter was smuggled out. It went all over the world. There was a lot of publicity about Robben Island. The head of this prison, Mr. Willemsen, he wanted to counter-react on that report. What he did, he arranged foreign journalists to come to visit this prison. When the foreign journalists were here, they said to the leaders, today, all of you, you are not going to work in the land quarry. You are going to work in this courtyard. As you are going to work in this courtyard, take off all your turn-up clothes that you are all wearing. You must wear these nice, warm, fresh clothes. And their job with the day, it was just to mend their old turn-up clothes. As you can see, Mandela there is carrying the cotton and the needle. They were busy doing their job, and that wall was not there. And the picture was taken up there in that office. And the journalist who took that picture, his name is John Ryder. And then the following day, they were gone, everything back to square one. And then international community of the Red Cross coming from Geneva, they applied to come to visit Robben Island. When the delegation were allowed to come, they were even visiting with their doctors. And then those doctors were given the permission even to examine all prisoners on the island. And then those doctors, they've discovered that indeed prisoners are very sick here. And they even said no one must be given the mat. People must be given the bed. 1978, that was the first arrival of bed on Robben Island. And then prisoners were allowed to started to sleep in bed, even the blankets. Each person was given 5 blankets, 2 sheets, and 1 cushion. The prison clothes were changed. Black prisoners were given the same clothes just like other prisoners. Even the food, they just changed the scale, but the terrible food remained as it was. As you can see, I came here, I was 22 years old, very energetic, and there was no stomach. I was not wearing the glasses. I left this prison with a big stomach and with the glasses because the food is always the starch all the way. And it is not nice, I can tell you, for the first 2 days, you are not going to eat, but you have to survive, and then you have to adapt, and then you must eat the food. So on Robben Island, Red Cross intervention, even Helen Suzman, she played a very important role to intervene on the condition of this prison. Helen Suzman, she was a member of the opposition party in apartheid parliament, and she was the first woman in that parliament, and she's a woman that she was always vocal all the time in that parliament. So those interventions, they played the role that the condition of this prison gradually changed. The lime quarry, the stone quarry, the hard labor, it was stopped. And the leaders, they were kept indoors. And this was their exercise courtyard. 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes lunch, 30 minutes on the supper time. The rest of their days, they were spending inside their cell. And the garden that you see there is Mr. Mandela's garden. It was a very good garden. And in this garden, it wasn't that fertile. So the leaders, inside their cells, there is no toilet. They were using the bucket as their toilet. You can still use those buckets up until today. So Mandela used to ask his colleagues not to throw away their bucket. They must bring them and throw them here in the garden so that it must fertile the soil. And the grapes are still growing, apples are still growing, but they are very sour because our water underneath is a salty water. And the same garden, he used to hide his manuscript, The Long Walk to Freedom. He started to write it here on the island. He was using his study materials. So in that garden, there was a cockatoo. That's a very severe punishment. But the leaders here, they said to Mandela, don't be discouraged. You must continue doing it clandestine. As he was busy writing it clandestine, Mr. Mac Maharaj, who was kept in this section, he was going to get released early. They said to Mac Maharaj, when you get released, you must smuggle out the part of the manuscript that Mandela busy writing it clandestine straight to Britain. And indeed, Maharaj successfully smuggled out those manuscripts straight to Britain. In our new dispensation, 1994, Maharaj was given the position as the Minister of Transport, as he knows how to transport things out of this island. They used to play tennis here, and at those poles, it was a volleyball net and a tennis net. Under the great tree, those wooden bench, they were there for many, many years. So they used to sit under the grape tree there, watching one another playing tennis. Or sometimes they can play chess, they can play dominoes, and they can even play Monopoly there. Mandela is a very good chess player. He's a very patient person. When he moves the pawn, he's going to take his own time to move. So some of his colleagues, they become so much irritable, they just stood up and take a walk. And when you come back, Mandela played around with the pawns, you'll find your queen is under a threat. So when we play Monopoly, Governor Mbeki is the father of our president. He was here with Mandela, and he's a member of the Communist Party. So when they play Monopoly, you must know that you monopolize all the properties. So he's going to say to them, you are becoming the capitalist. So you're playing this thing. So you practice capitalism while you're in prison. But there was a very big debate. The debate was taking place here. They were even recruiting Mandela to become a communist. But Mandela was recruiting the communist to become the nationalist. So there was a lot of things that was happening. Even shifting the floors. Today they call it an act in parliament. Things that are here on the island. People were shifting the floors here on the island. You can join the ANC, you can join the PAC, you can join the BCM. It was on your own will. No one is going to force you to do that. So the recruitment was taking place here. And these leaders, and what they did, they adopted one stand that irrespective of our political organizations, we must all work together as a unity. So that is why they took decision together all the time. And we call them the well-tested leadership. So at this place, we call it our head office. Because we, on the other section, we were not allowed to see the leaders. That's why it was always locked. There was a patrol there on top, and there was two prison orders that was always here all the time. So the mistake they've made was that, is to allow our comrades to become a cookers. So those comrades, they were the smuggling committee members. So they were smuggling information all over the section. So that is how we were able to communicate with the leaders using that channel. And then the cookers are going to stand there, not coming inside. Our pots were 4 pots. So the pots were numbered from number 1 to number 4. So when there is something in one of the pots, he's going to say to one of the leader, pot number 3, there are 7 green flies. So they know what are those green flies. Those are the documents coming from other section. And the leaders here, when they play tennis on the weekends, what usually happens is that every Friday, we must know that people were coming in numbers here. The struggle outside, it was too much. So people were coming here every Friday evening. So at that time, everybody's been locked in, except the cookers, because they must give them the water to drink at night. So our water, it was rationed because it was coming from the mainland. The water that we used to wash is a sea water. In Afrikaans, we call it a black water. So when the leaders in the morning, they are doing exercise, behind that section, the wall, is another prison cell. And they can hear that there are a lot of noise at that side. That means those are the newcomers. So then the cookers, they know how to give the information there. So what will happen is that the leaders, they will go to one of the prison wardens and say, at lunchtime, we want to play some tennis. And then the prison warden is going to bring the tennis net and put it there. Elias Mtswaledi, Mandela's co-accused, he passed away. And then he's going to take one of the tennis ball and cut it in between, and then put in the questionnaire paper there, and then close it with the glue. So as they play tennis at lunch, the same young comrades that side, they are on exercise lunch. So the right ball is going to go over that side, as if it's a mistake, and then they'll know what to do with that ball. So that information, they have to respond to the leaders, and then who they are, where they come from. And then in the morning, when the cooker is bringing their breakfast, information is going to be given to the cooker, and the cooker will bring breakfast here, is going to give it to the leaders. They will know exactly who they are, where they come from. I remember one guy, his name was Tsepo. He was very young, he was 16 years old. He had a very serious chest problem. So on Robben Island, when you got a chest problem, I can tell you, you are going to suffer a lot. So and then this young boy, he was that asthmatic. So the leaders here, they've tried by all means to make sure that this gentleman must be transferred to the mainland prison. So when Captain Van Niken, he was surprised when one of the leaders told him that, listen, we've got a young boy who is very sick, he's asthmatic. Can you please make sure that must be transferred out of Robben Island? So the first question that he asked, how did you know about it? Then he said, don't worry about that. And then he asked the prison warden, how did he know that information? And the warden said, well, I was not on duty, so I just came in today, so he can be able to maneuver. So, but that pressure was too much, and then Tsepo was transferred to the mainland. Unfortunately, he passed away. He was a very young boy, and then even myself, I got a very serious chest problem. I wanted to be transferred. They completely refused. They said they won't do. I've tried my lawyers, I've tried the Red Cross, I've tried the United Nations. They completely refused to transfer me. I was always kept here. That is why today I'm still under severe pressure on the chest problem here. I'm still using the pump because this place, I can tell you, it was not a good place. It was a very terrible place. And Mr. Mandela, which co-accused, they were here for 18 years. Then they were transferred to Posmo prison. And then from Posmo prison, Mandela alone, he was taken to Victor Verster. And the Victor Verster, that was Mr. Mandela's last prison. And the cell Mandela where he was, that is the cell there. Window number 4, on your left-hand side, if you come from the left-hand side, the window that is back, that is where Mr. Mandela was. For 14 years, he was sleeping on the mat, just like all other prisoners. When the bed arrived, then he said to sleep in bed. As we are going to go in there, we'll be just taking the picture, and at that cell, it reflected those days when there was no bed in here on the island. We'll be going in, take a picture, and please come back here, and we must try to be very snappy because of time. So that other people, when they come, we are safe.
with admiration and gratitude, your people of South Africa. And then there's some Afrikaans or Zulu written underneath it.
Where's it down there?
Yeah.
At Mandela side, and we call it a sisal mat. If you don't have this kind of a sponge, you can only sleep on top of this thing. You have this, then you can put it on top like this. That's how you do it. But in the big cell like this, they were sleeping like from that side, goes all the way up. And from that side, right up until down here. And then in this room, 125 prisoners were sleeping here. And they must share this mat. You want to go to the bathroom, you must always cross over people like this, because there was no space at all. As people are sleeping, you are all facing one side. In the middle of the night, you want to relieve the part of your body, all what you do, you just give one an elbow. Then he knows that is a sign of turning, and then the whole room starts. And then you catch a flu, you sneeze a lot, the whole cell is going to get sick. And when the bed arrives, and then that's how the beds look like. One sleep on top, one at the bottom. And those are the very good warm-up blankets. I used to sleep with them. And with 5 blankets and 2 sheets, and then 1 cushion. So I used to sleep on top. So what will usually happen, I'm a very bad person, I'm having nightmares. So then when I turn, and then I find myself right on the floor, very painful. And then I forgot once that I want to go to the loo. I just turn around, and then again I find myself on the floor. And that's why I've got a very serious knee problem. I even went for operation. So then it was decided that I must use the first floor. So then I was using the first floor. So the other programs were using the second floor. So in such a big section, we can talk to one another the whole night. We were recruiting one another here. We were debating a lot. We debate about the beauty contest. We debate about the boxing. We debate about a lot of things. It was, I can tell you, a very serious debate that was taking place here. And then even our culture. And when it comes to the issue of culture, it was just like a fire. Because each and everyone had to defend this culture here. So I'm a Zulu. There was a perception that a Zulu people are not going to the mountain. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So that perception, and then I remember this young comrade, today he's the ambassador now in Uganda. He said to me, he was just talking, he said, yeah, the Zulus are boys, they're not going to the mountain and so on. Everybody was listening to him. And then I just keep quiet because according to my culture, I don't just talk about my things, I have to be quiet. And I did, then you have to go to the shower, of course, in the afternoon, to go and have to shower before you go to studies. And then as you go to the bathroom, everybody must take everything off, of course. So then as you go under the shower, he was there. So when he looked at me, he realized that I am not a boy, I am a man. And then when I look at him, I realized that he is a boy, he's not a man. Then I started to start the fire.